War of the Worlds from 1953 looked controlled on screen, yet behind the camera it was unpredictable. Strange accidents, melting models, and dangerous effects shaped every scene. These moments reveal how far the team went to make the Martian invasion feel real. Fact 01. A Martian probe nearly injured an actor. The Cobra-shaped probe was supposed to glide smoothly on its hidden rig. During a routine test, the main support loosened and the metal track shifted at the wrong angle. The puppet slipped free and dropped forward with unexpected force. As it swung across the set, the cast froze. The head of the probe rushed straight toward an actor standing near the console. It missed him by inches, slicing through the air like it had a mind of its own. Crew members shouted as they grabbed the rig from both sides. The team spent the rest of the day reinforcing the puppet with steel clamps. They tightened every joint, tested every hinge, and checked every bolt before they allowed cameras to roll again. The near accident became the moment everyone remembered whenever the probe appeared on set. And this was just the beginning of the chaos behind this classic. Fact 02. The heat ray lens cracked from real heat. The heat ray was designed to look powerful. A cluster of high-intensity bulbs sat inside the mechanism, glowing hotter than the team expected. During one of the tests, the glass lens at the front reached its limit. It made a sharp cracking sound that echoed across the stage. The split happened in an instant. A loud pop rang out, and the lens fractured from the center outward. Tiny shards flew toward the wall and bounced off the equipment. Crew members stepped back before anyone was hit. The production replaced the lens with a thicker design and wrapped heat-resistant padding around the base. The cracked piece became a small reminder that their props were more dangerous than they looked. And the next incident only pushed the tension higher. Fact 03. A pyro charge exploded earlier than planned. The miniature house explosion was one of the film's biggest effects. The crew planted a small pyro charge inside the model and stepped back as they prepared the camera. But something triggered early. The explosion went off nearly 10 seconds before the cue. The fireball shot out with surprising force and startled the entire effects crew. One of the cameras sitting near the model took a direct hit from the heat wave. Its casing showed a clear scorch mark by the time the smoke cleared. The team had to reset the entire safety system. They rechecked every cable, replaced every switch, and added new timing controls. The early blast served as a warning that the miniature work carried real risk even on a controlled stage. But the next effect involves something even heavier and more unsettling. Fact 04. The jet crash scene used a real plane wreck. Instead of building a fake aircraft, the studio bought a real wrecked jet that had been stripped for parts. The husk was jagged, twisted, and unstable. When the set decorators stepped in to dress the wreckage, they discovered sharp edges everywhere. Two crew members cut their hands while attaching props around the broken frame. The metal from the wreck had not been sanded or cleaned. Every corner carried a bite. The production added gloves, padding, and medical cream to their daily routine. Extras who arrived to film the scene felt uneasy standing near the wreck. Some said the wreck looked too real and carried an odd heaviness. The damaged fuselage brought a raw mood to the set that no studio prop could match, and the pressure only grew during the next dangerous sequence. Fact 05. Extras ran off set during the burning farm sequence. The burning farm scene used real flames. Strong desert wind rolled across the field and pushed the fire higher than the team expected. Smoke drifted fast and thick, spreading across the open space and blocking the exit path. When the flames began to lean toward the crowd, several extras panicked. They ran off the marked positions before the director called cut. Their footsteps scattered across the dirt, leaving the shot unusable. The crew lowered the flame height and added more fire control equipment before trying again. The wind never fully cooperated, which meant everyone stayed on edge during each take. The chaos on screen matched the energy behind the camera. And then the miniature department ran into trouble of its own. Fact 06. A miniature Martian ship melted under lights. The smaller Martian craft models were built from thin plastic shells. They looked perfect under the camera, but they reacted badly to heat. During one long take, the lamps above the model grew hotter and hotter until the shells softened. The edges of the ship curled inward like warm wax. The top started to sag and the sides drooped. The team stopped the take when they noticed the ship leaning. By the time they reached the table, the miniature had collapsed into itself. They rebuilt the entire model using thicker plastic sheets and added reflective panels to shield it from the lights. The ruined ship remained on a shelf as a quiet warning about the dangers of working too close to heat. And the next problem involved something much larger than a model. Fact 07. The Martian suit actor could not see at all. The full rubber Martian suit was impressive on camera, but nearly impossible to wear. It was sealed on all sides, and the headpiece had no clear eye holes. The performer inside had to guess his steps based on vibration under his feet. During one scene, he misjudged his path and walked straight into a camera stand. The impact echoed across the set and sent the camera tilting. The stumble looked strange and unsteady, almost like the Martian creature was learning how to move. The director reused part of the movement as reference because it looked eerie in a natural way. The performer asked for small guide bumps to be added to the floor so he could feel his position more clearly. But the next accident involved something that moved on its own. Fact is 08. A crowd scene turned chaotic when a car rolled. The panic scene involved dozens of extras running through the street. A parked car sat behind them as part of the set dressing. During one take, the car slipped out of gear and rolled forward without warning. The extras screamed as they turned and saw the vehicle moving toward them. Some jumped aside while others froze. The crew rushed forward and stopped the car before it reached anyone. No one was hurt, but the moment felt far too real. The director later used the raw reactions as inspiration for the final cut. The fear in that moment captured the feeling they wanted all along. Fact 09. A mist machine filled the entire stage. The mist machine was supposed to create a gentle, low fog. The plan was to let it drift across the floor and stay under the actors' feet. But the machine ran hotter than expected and threw out warm vapor instead of cool mist. The fog rose fast. It climbed above the set pieces and spread upward until it reached the rafters. Within minutes, the lights disappeared behind a thick white blanket. Crew members shouted to each other because they could no longer see across the stage. The alarms almost went off as the haze poured into every corner. The team rushed forward with fans and opened the studio doors. They had to keep sweeping the mist out until the light rigs became visible again. The moment felt unreal and gave the set a strange, silent pressure. And the next mishap came from something much heavier than fog. Fact 10. Scientists dropped a real metal cylinder on set. The meteor scene required a large metal cylinder that looked solid and dangerous. Instead of building a light version, the effects team used a real heavy tube to make the arrival feel authentic. The cylinder hung from a crane hook as they prepared the scene. During a setup, the hook slipped. The cylinder dropped and hit the dirt with a deep thud. The impact shook the camera tripods and made the ground vibrate. The sound was so loud that a few people thought another pyro charge had gone off by mistake. No one was hurt, but the fall left a visible dent in the soil. The director replayed the audio during review and loved how raw it sounded. They added that deep metallic hit into the final mix because it captured the arrival of something alien, and the accidents kept growing in strange ways. Fact 11. A Martian eyepiece leaked dye on an extra. The Martian eyepiece held glowing gel inside a clear shell. Under lights, the gel shimmered and gave the creature a strange pulsing effect. But during one take, the shell cracked from heat. Red dye leaked from the crack and dripped onto an extra standing beside the prop. It slid down his costume and stained the fabric instantly. The crew stopped the scene and hurried over with towels, cloths, and water bottles. Production paused as they cleaned his face and replaced his wardrobe. The leaked dye stuck to the prop table and left a mark that stayed there for the rest of the shoot. The team reinforced every eyepiece after that, so no more gel would spill. And soon the miniature department faced a bigger problem with actual flames. Fact 12. A miniature destruction shot burned a table. The heat ray miniature effect was filmed on a wooden model stand. The crew used a focused flame tool to mimic the melting blast from the alien machines. They tested the effect many times without issues, but one shot ran too long. The heat pressed into the wooden table and darkened it. Then the surface began to smoke. Flames crawled across the edge and surprised everyone in the room. The team rushed forward with clothes and stomped the fire out before it spread. The table burned so badly that the stand collapsed on one side. They had to bring in a new surface before continuing with the destruction sequence. And on the next shooting day, an accident came from a simple fan. Fact 13. A script page blew into a wet paint prop. The Martian pod was freshly painted with a shiny green coat. A strong fan ran in the corner to cool the room. When someone opened the stage door, a sudden draft shot across the space. The wind grabbed a script page from an assistant's hand. It flew across the room and slapped against the wet prop. The paint stuck like glue. When they peeled the page off, the paper tore and left streaks of green on the set floor. The assistant had to rewrite the damaged lines, and the paint crew had to fix the pod before filming. And the next incident happened during one of the battle scenes. Fact 14. An actor's coat caught sparks during a battle scene. The rooftop explosion involved real debris. Small pieces of burning material fell from above as the actors moved through the set. During one take, sparks fell from the blast and landed on an actor's coat. A tiny burn mark formed near the shoulder. The smoke from the mark rose slowly as the scene continued. The actor felt the heat only after the director yelled "cut." The wardrobe patched the coat with a fresh layer of fabric and cleaned the burned section. They added a protective pad under the coat during the next take to prevent more sparks from reaching the actor's skin. And the sound team soon discovered an unusual noise that changed the whole film. Fact 15. A sound test created the Martian shriek by accident. The crew tested microphones while adjusting a theremin. One mic caught a sudden feedback ring. The sound twisted around the theremin tone and formed a sharp rising shriek. Everyone in the room stopped. The noise felt alive. It hit a pitch that did not sound human and did not sound mechanical. It sat somewhere in between, like something searching in the dark. The team played the recording again and realized they had found the perfect Martian call. The accidental mix became the signature sound for the creatures. It came from a mistake, not a plan. And the final scene created the last big problem. Fact 16. The final church scene filled with falling dust. The collapsing ceiling effect used practical debris. The crew packed dust into small hidden pockets and rigged wooden pieces above the actors. When the cue came, the ceiling fragments dropped into the church aisle. The debris fell harder than expected. Dust spread across the room so thick that the altar faded behind a gray curtain. Actors shielded their faces as they walked through clouds of falling powder. The team had to stop between takes to sweep the benches and clear the air. Even with fans running, the church stayed hazy for a long time. The dust added weight to the scene and made the collapse feel real. If you want more hidden stories from classic sci-fi, hit subscribe and follow the next invasion waiting just ahead.